welcome to another Lick of the Day. I'm Brett Papa, and today is all about a continuation of our double stop extravaganza we've been having. It's all about minor chords today. In the previous lessons, we did a lesson on how to play the major chords using rhythm, and then we also did a double stop lesson on how to do lead playing, learning how to kind of pepper in those double stops like you might hear in a Hendrix song or an R&B or today country, or the genres go on, and the uses are endless with double stops. But I come from like the Hendrix, Pearl Jam, Stevie Ray, Chili Peppers, that's kind of where I was steeped in this technique. So it's going to kind of similar, sound like like that. So anyways, I swear I gotta lay off the coffee. Okay, so we're going to take three chord shapes. We're going to take A minor chords, or in this case we're going to play out of A minor pentatonic, and we'll go over sort of the E shape of a chord, right, where our root is on the E string down. We're going to go over kind of the A minor shapes, right? Think of this little A minor-ish looking chord shape where our root note is on the A string. And then we'll take the chord shape where the root would be on the D, although I just kind of use these three strings, right? So this is an A minor chord with a kind of a D minor shape to it. And that's basically how I go about using these things. Now there's more options, but this is just kind of like an intro / here's a bunch of different ways to do it. You go ahead, stir up the pot, make your own recipe. Okay, so if we're talking about an E chord shape, my technique couldn't be simpler. I just think of how to play, like in this case, we got an A minor chord, A minor pentatonic position 1. That's what I think about, is right underneath my fingers. So what I do is 9 times out of 10, when I do double stops over a chord like this, I hammer on to the lower of the two strings. So let me give you an example. If I'm on the B and G, I'm going to hammer on to the G string and let the B string 5th fret ring underneath that. All right, same thing if I move up to the D and G. I'll be hammering on to the D. Now I do it two different ways. I'll play right out of the chord shape like this, or sometimes I'll, wrap my thumb and do kind of the Hendrix kind of thing. So I can keep my root going up here and then do whatever down here. Right, so that's basically how I think about under this type of a chord. Now let's give you some lick ideas, right? So E string down, right, where the root's on the E, think position 1 of pentatonic minor right underneath your fingers. Those are your note choices to start off with. Now what you can do is you can start the idea on maybe one string and then pepper in a double stop. So in that instance, I used the 5th fret and the 8th fret on the B, right? And then maybe I roll over and hammer on to the 5 to 7, and then I do my double stop, right? So, and then so sometimes I'll do the double stop, and then I'll go up and I'll do a single note line, like from the D string 5th to 7th fret, and then I'll do a double stop. Right, so we got. Now sometimes I'll go back and forth and do a lick like that, right, to where I'm using like the back side of the chord, and then I go to the front side. Now there's two different ways of hammer-ons I'll do. I'll do ones where it kind of sounds like one note, where you hammer on quickly. And that's kind of more the Stevie Ray thing, I think. Right? Or it's more of a traditional hammer-on. This one sounds like you get 2 notes. This one's more like 1, right? And so when you do those 2 techniques together, right, you can do something like that. Right, maybe something like that. So that's another one I was saying I would do. And that's kind of what I would do over this type of a chord. Alright, so let's go over what I would do when the root is on the A string. Alright, so let's say we're in a 1-4-5 progression, right? We got our 1 chord where we're playing basically the minor pentatonic, position 1 underneath our fingers. Right? What do we do over, say, a minor shape when the root is on the A string, like this? Right, so you're using that kind of a minor shaped chord, even though we got a D minor chord, right? That shape is like an A minor chord. So, when the chord looks like that, I think minor pentatonic position 4, right? Or, you know, it could be all the shapes of the pentatonic scale are the same. So, you know, just think position 4, the shape, right? So check it out. Here's our chord. So if I think minor pentatonic position 4, it would be like this. Now that gives me tons of different cool opportunities, right? All those. And remember, your third, the note that makes the chord, major or minor, is right here. So you can, you know, do that kind of stuff. Right? Now, in the middle of the chord, you have those two. You know, maybe you don't hammer on, maybe you just slide up. You know, this goes for this shape too. You can do those double stop slides, right? So, right? And then you also have the single note. Right, and then maybe you go back to your 1. So I'll do that over both the 4 and the 5 chord. Right, now maybe I don't always throw that note in there. Right? Now you can modify this note to whatever scale you're in, right? Right, so that's just kind of the framework, right? And then you got to experiment, like, well, what kind of things would I do? Well, remember when we went back to the first chord shape, we did single note lines. Right? And so experiment different ways to do this single line. Maybe you do right where you're coming from, say, we're over the 5 chord, and maybe we're going 7, 10, 7, and then 10, 8. Or maybe you go 7, 10, 7, 8, 10. You know, maybe you take these two and hammer on to the minor third, and then come back to a single note. And then maybe you walk down, and then, right, maybe you go to the, maybe you pepper in a little lead line in there, right? So that's over these two shapes, right? So when it's the E string down using a minor chord, think that the position 1 of pentatonic is underneath your fingers. When it's the A string down, think position 4 is underneath your fingers. Now, say I want to use the D shape of the chord, right? So we have an A minor chord right here. It's kind of a D minor shape, but the notes spell A minor. And the typical way to do it, if you're going to include the root, so this would be with the root is on the D string down. I would think kind of position 2. Right? So maybe you... Now this would be kind of more of a transitionary spot. I don't typically come up and do that on its own, but I might add that. I'll come up and I'll grab. Maybe I'll do something like that, right? You got. And you use those two shapes together, right? The E shape and the D shape of the chords. All right? Back to our A, root down. So the fun comes when you start putting those together, right? Maybe you're leading into the next chord, which is a super, super fun thing to do. Example being, right, you're over the 5 or the 4 chord. And then back into the 1, right? Or, right, you can use that same transition over the... A million ways to do it, right? This is just stuff right off the top of my head. I typically don't play 1-4-5 blues progressions. I mean, they're great, right? But there's just everybody does it, and it's an awesome thing to do in the beginning. It's amazing because they're all really close together, and it's a really great way to start to get this sort of thing going. So start there, right? Do 1-4-5s, and then work on going out where there's more chords in the progression. Maybe it's more of a song type progression, which we're going to do later, right? The next series of videos after I do the minor pentatonic soloing, section or lick of the day with double stops in it, then we're going to combine the major chords and the minor chords together and put it in more of a real world song format that you might hear on, anything from an R&B tune to a pop tune to country to classic rock to whatever, where there's more than just 3 chords, right? And that's where you get the Bold as Love, the Little Wings, all these just amazing, the Yellow Ledbetters, all these just amazing songs. And you have, a lot of those major and minor chords together, and it just makes the coolest. It's my favorite, probably one of my favorite things to do in all of guitar, because it's just, the amount of things you can do is endless. And always, I'll put some song stuff over here, some playlists at the end of the video. Go and learn like Bold as Love and Hey Joe and a lot of the Hendrix tunes, because man, they're just gold. I mean, everybody kind of uses those, you know, Double Stop, Steve Cropper, all these other guys too, back in the R&B and stuff like that. Just go back and listen to that and just really let it sink in, because man, it adds such a cool thing to playing in both rhythm and lead. One of my most favorite things ever on guitar. All right, so thank you for watching. Over here there'll be a subscribe button. Click the bell if you want to be notified. I post at least 3 times a week, so if you want to be notified when the new videos come out, click the bell button after you subscribe. And over here will be brettpapa.com. That funds all the free videos. If you like what you see here, brettpapa.com is the deep dive into all this sort of thing. And then over here, I'll always put some sort of a video or playlist, or sometimes they're here in the middle. Somewhere it'll pop up that there'll be other videos like this, or songs, or whatever you want. And also check the links down below. You guys are so awesome. Thank you much. See, I'm just getting choked up trying to tell you how much you mean to me. You guys are amazing. Can't talk. The coffee. The brain is firing faster than the words. You're amazing. Thank you for the continued support. You're awesome. I'll catch you next time.